All right, I have another video. Hi, welcome. My name's Brian, and um, there are countless benefits. There's hundreds of benefits of God in the Bible, and also I'm going to talk about relevancy. Um, but Yeshua is one big benefit. He intercedes on behalf of us, and there are elders and people praying for us that are before the throne of God and praying and interceding on our behalfs. They God will make things happen. Everything in your life that happens is because there's an ultimate plan. If you claim that you got everything by your own hand and that you worked your butt off and then that you got all this, that's crap. And I'm sure that I'm going to miss a lot of benefits. Um, I mean, he gives us peace. He gives us peace enough for us to sleep if we're truly his. Even in the storms. I've had storms raging in my life, and I've always been able to sleep, and knowing that he has me. There have been times when I thought that he didn't have me, um, but there's an angel army that looks out after us if you're truly his. There's an angel army. I've heard that when you tithe and when you're working for him, that God guides us with his angels. And so, yeah. But he gives us writings to follow. He shows us how to live. And he will, and it says that we're not to worry, that do you not see how God clothes the flowers of the field and takes care of the birds of the air? And God says that he'll take care of you. He says that he'll give you food and clothing and what your body needs to live. He knows that that you need shelters and all that, and that's why in the prayer it says our daily bread, and that's part of the prayer. It's our daily bread is everything that we need for that day. So in other words, if you need strength for that day, he'll give you strength. If you need food, if you need support, if you need someone's help, he'll be there for you. Um, One very very big benefit um, of Yeshua is heaven. Uh, if you have fully accepted him and repented and forgiven everyone and believe in him and call on the blood of him and are baptized in him, then you're going to heaven and you're going to spend all of eternity in heaven. And it says, "No eye has seen, no ears heard all the benefits of those that know God." So yeah, heaven is a huge one, and eternal life is a huge one. Um, and there will be a judgment day. There will be a time of judgment, and God will place the people that deserve to be with Him, and He'll have them be with Him. And those that are wicked and unrighteous, He'll have go the other way. He also gives us wisdom and knowledge. He gives us comfort in those in times of distress. He gives us when we give tithes like we should, 10%. So everything you have, you're supposed to give 10% of what you have, either money or time and everything else. And there's a verse, and I don't know what the verse goes on, but it basically says that He'll fill your cup and make it overflowing, and you won't ever lack if you do what He tells you to do. Um, Another benefit is knowing someone is there who hears you, who knows your battles, who wants to comfort you, and who does in different ways. Different people have different ways of feeling Him. For me, it's kind of a tingle or sensation that I get, or chill kind of thing. For other, it's this kind of, I guess, fire. I mean, I haven't really talked to a whole lot of people, but they know that someone is there. And most of the time, it's like a tingle or burning I mean, it's like a good burning sensation, not like a I'm on fire, and yeah, that's not a good burning sensation. So, um, and he rewards your works. There's a reward for your works here on this world. However, it also says in the Bible um, to not have your left hand know what your right hand is doing. It says to also not to if you give something and expect a reward immediately and go, hey, look at what I did, you're not going to get any reward because you already got your reward here on this world. You're supposed to do things um, and work behind the scenes kind of thing. Those that want the place of importance and kind of are an exalted place. I mean, the Bible even talks about it, that they've already gotten their reward and they've already gotten what they think that they deserve. The air is also given to us. There's strength, support. He's our Father in heaven. He supplies water, food, shelter, needs. He also controls everything outside. He controls the wind. He controls the rain. He controls the hail and everything else. He controls the storms. All these storms that are around us, you can pray on them. But he has reasons why the storms are hitting. He has reasons why they hit in certain areas. I mean, you may be going through a storm of life, but just know that he has a reason to have them happen. I mean, sometimes it's to bring things to light. I mean, it may be at that moment, it may be a real horrible circumstance, but the outcome may be a better house. It may be getting you noticed and having things given to you. Because I've helped on many disasters, and I mean, I've been in trailers and other things, and yes, it was horrible times, but in the end, people got a new home. They got new furniture. They got someone to really look after them and pray for them and get them on the right road. So yeah, but he supplies. I mean, everything. I've never been without what I need. There's been times when I've freaked out and go, oh well, I'm gonna have to go shop at the dollar store, or I'm gonna have to do this, that, or the other. And if you're careful with your money and don't spend your money on ridiculous stuff and keep within your means, then you'll have what you need. However, if you spend your money on extravagant things of this world, like, oh, I'm going to go buy me a boat and an ATV, and I'm going to buy a big luxurious house and a 50,000-inch TV, and then God's not going to support that. He only supports what is good and for you. TVs are, notice how it says tell a vision. They do tell a vision. They are a propaganda tool. They push a way of seeing this world. And so those are some of the benefits. And I mean, you can look up benefit scriptures and see many more. But yes, if you get out of the will of God, then yes, his judgment's going to come after you. You're going to get punished. And God punishes those that he loves. I mean, it's just like if you have a son or daughter or anyone, then you know that it's like when they mess up, it's like you have to punish them. And God says, don't withhold your hand or rod from them because they have to learn. I mean, it's like if you just give them a slap on the wrist and say, okay, well, just don't do that again, they're going to do it again. I mean, if you don't have something serious happen or a serious outcome and don't learn from your mistake, then you're going to repeat that offense. Um, so, but yeah, sorry, I'm in my house and I would like to do this outside, but the problem is there's mosquitoes galore outside. But there's many more benefits. Um, and sometimes, I mean, I've asked for a companion, and right now my companion is this this guy. I've always had a dog, um, which has been nice. However, it's limited me in certain circumstances um, because I feel obligated to take care of him. But God does give us things that we need. So yeah. Okay, so the other part of this is relevancy. Why is the Bible relevant? And the timeline, man's timeline says that our world is millions upon billions of years old. That this land has gone through X number of ice ages and blah blah blah, and that things have happened in very short order. However, in the Bible and in the Apocrypha, in that book that is right there, that book and Enoch, and I've been reading on it, and it says that the earth will complete everything in 7,000 years. And that includes, so the 6,000 and 7,000 is the millennial reign. And I think I did a video on that chapter. But this world is about 7,000 years old. Because the geology and all the stuff that used to happen, we only can look at what happens as, and we use today's models and scales. However, things happened at a very rapid pace, especially in the time of Noah, when all heck broke loose. Everything moved very rapidly. Yes, there was one big continent during Noah's time, where there was water on all the perimeter, and this land, according to science, is known as Pangea, and it broke off into like Laurasia, and I can't remember the other one, but Gondwana land, that's the other one. And it supposedly broke off, and the thing is it did, but it happened at a much faster scale. I mean, think about it. All the folds and cracks and stuff. Can you take? I mean, if it went slowly, and if the model is correct and it went real slow, then you would have time for the rocks to harden, and how would you take a hardened rock, and have you ever tried to bend a rock? And if you've ever messed with clay, you know that you need it pliable. You need it. You need to be able to bend it and move it and shape it. And the only way you can do that is if it's molten, or malleable. In other words, it needs to be in the form of a in a form that can be molded. Because there are a lot of folds and whatever that I've seen that like fold on one on top of the other, and the only way that can happen is if that was heated and done very quickly, which it was. And I can't remember. There's a term for how the continents. Oh, it's like the continental sprint. But yes, there's a new model, and the problem is there's a lot of models, and if they upended part of the model, then the whole thing would be wrong, which it is. You ought to look at Genesis history, because it makes it. The guy explains it very well. He shows how fossils were, and fossils. Okay, have you ever seen a fossil? Like, have you ever put a deer down and it fossilized? No, you see it completely eaten by bacteria and other things, and it disappears. So the only way that you can get fossils is by burying it and then and like quickly. And that explains Noah's flood. Noah's flood happened very quickly, and everything got buried very rapidly. It did not happen over long periods of time. Fossils happen very suddenly. And there's also what's it called, a polystrate fossil. And look up that term, and you'll see that those fossils are actually in several different layers. There are trees that are in more than one layer. And but yes. So the relevancy is we needed a moral compass, if you will, and that compass is the Bible. Without that moral compass, I mean, people would basically do whatever the heck they wanted. I mean, your sense of morality has to come somewhere, and so there's constantly been a battle between the devil or devil's minions and heaven and God's people. And so the devil came up with different ways and morality contexts. And we have like Hinduism and Buddhism and Taoism and the other big names that I'm not going to mention. But those were made to have a moral basis. But the thing is look at, I mean, if the Bible is not relevant and Christianity doesn't mean anything, then why is it the only one attacked? Why is it the only one that is not being allowed to share? You have satanic groups now farming that are going in schools and being allowed. You're not seeing prayers outside of school. I mean, people are actively going after people praying at all, even on the street. There are cops that are going after people that are praying in the street, and because of different reasons. So the relevancy is, and nothing has changed. I mean, God is still on the throne. What he has said in the Bible is all true and all accurate and all can be proven. Mount Sinai has been found. The place where they crossed has been found because they have found chariot wheels and other things. Look up, what is his name? I can't remember his name. There are several guys. There's a guy that found Noah's Ark on one of the mountains and has found, it's the same length and width that the original Noah's Ark is supposed to be. All the people of the Bible have been proven to have existed, except, the records from the earliest of times. Those people are probably the hardest to have something happen because they were learning. I mean, it's like, okay, if you start somewhere and you have a group of people, I mean, they have to learn the stuff in order to get everything going. And so they had to figure stuff out. And that's why they lived 900,000 years. It's because they weren't given the knowledge and basis. However, messengers have influenced how quickly things have happened because what they did is they came down, and this is in the book of Enoch, but they came down and slept with the women, and they taught how to where to find stones and bronze and different things, and how to do wizardry, how to do divination, and how to do how to make weapons in war and all this other stuff. So yeah. But the Bible never changes. It shows us how to live. It shows us why things are the way they are. It shows us what will happen, and it shows who created us. We didn't come from goo. That has never been proven. There may have been a Big Bang, but I think it was the war in heaven, and that may have been the big start of it. And God has a starting place, and God created us in His image. Every single one of us were created in His image. We share some traits with gorillas, but if you take in the whole DNA structure of both humans and gorillas, or chimpanzees, and try to compare them, the similarity is like down at like what 10-15%, and it's not upwards of like the 90 or whatever percent that they claim. The reason why that is the case, according to their research, is because they left off the DNA strands that were not matching up, the DNA strands that were superfluous, I guess. Superfluous is meaning not part of it, not relevant. So, but the Bible is our history. It shows us what people did, and it shows, how people lived and how they were punished for what they did. It shows all the different groups and where we came from. It shows our lineage. We are all connected, and when we die and cross over, we're going to live side by side with God for all of eternity. It's relevant for the pure fact that everything we do here on this earth is recorded in the book of life. This is a moral book and how we should live. And we live in a time where the morality is being thrown out the window, where the devil has pushed an agenda through the television and other methods, and he's trying to make the Bible irrelevant because he doesn't want any of us to go to heaven, and so he's making this world. He wants to make the Bible irrelevant, and not the thing that people go to, and that's why he's wanting us to to get away from the Bible. Those that want this world and want the things of this world are going to make excuses to not follow the Bible. However, they will get punished in the afterworld because it's the Lazarus and the rich man, where the rich man lived it up. He had everything he could ever want. He ate all the stuff while Lazarus was at the gate and pleaded for just crumbs off of his table, and the guy was a jerk to him, and basically and they both died. The rich man went to hell, and Lazarus was in heaven and was being very well taken care of by angels, and was living it up for all of eternity. And the Bible says that this world is nothing more than a breath. So our lives here are very quick. I mean, some of us will live 5 years, some of us 10, 50, 60, 80, but we will all die. I don't care who you are or where you came from, and we try to stop from dying. We try to prolong our longevity, and so we don't. I think a lot of us, I mean, especially if you're wicked and unrighteous, you don't want the Bible to be accurate. If the Bible is accurate, then you know that you're screwed in the afterlife. It's kind of like, okay, well, and there's a lot of people that like this world. There's a lot of people that, hey, I want to play gaming, or I want to just live it up and go to amusement parks and get drunk and get with women all the time. I want to do all the things in this world and live in mansions and drive around in fast cars and and just basically run over everyone. And those people, they've already kind of signed away their life, but there are, I mean, yes, we are kind of fearful of death. And, but yes, I mean, we will be judged for everything in the Bible and everything we do here on this world. So the Bible is very relevant. um, and the people that don't like the Bible are the ones that have had something bad happen to them and they can't explain it and don't understand why God would do something so horrific or awful. And so they turn from the Bible because they're like, well, this shouldn't have happened. Um, or they've had a really rough life and they're like, okay, well, why was my life really rough at that point? But our example is Job's life, where he had everything, and then the devil was like, well, he's only worshiping you because he has everything, and so um, God allowed the devil to take everything from him. He took his health, he took his kids, he caused his wife to get sick. He took his land and everything. And yes, there was a time. I think there was stuff on how long it lasted, but he basically there was a story on him in the Apocrypha. I can't remember what book of the Apocrypha, but it was in the Apocrypha, and it told exactly how long. And he basically was on a dung heap and just sat there because it was like, okay, well, I can't do anything more. Um, and he wasted away because he. But what I find really interesting is even at his lowest, he never got mad at God. He never threatened God. He never. He's like, okay, well, somewhere along the line, I deserve this. But we as people today, when things don't go our way and we don't get what we want, all of us throw a fit. And I mean, me included. And it's like, okay, why is this happening? And I mean, we're in a society where we're like, okay, I want it now. I mean, we live in a society where we have fast food, fast cars, fast women, fast everything, and we can get stuff immediately. 100 years ago, I mean, they had wagons and they had horses and they had to had Pony Express, and so they didn't have internet and social media and instant texting. I mean, they didn't know things.